Who are you? I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want. What's that? Time.
What's going on, everyone? It's Alex. Welcome back to the channel. The Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer dropped last night, so you already know what we're talking about. If you like Marvel, the MCU, comics, and everything in between, subscribe to the channel. But other than that, let's get into the video. Let's go. So to get right into it, the trailer was great in my opinion. I actually really enjoyed it because when the first one dropped, it looked better than the second movie, but I wasn't fully on board. This is different though. I'm a big fan of what they have cooking. Now there's a lot of Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror, a lot of quantum realm weirdness, and some really interesting shots, so let's use the trailer to talk a little bit about the plot, and spoiler warnings if you don't want to know, but I don't think we're going to get too in depth here. As we all know, thanks to the first trailer, Cassie, who is now played by Catherine Newton, developed what is essentially a quantum realm beacon that can call to the realm. For what reason this is and why, we'll have to wait and see, but of course it malfunctions, pulling them all in and trapping them within the quantum realm. Now for the longest time, and even thanks to what Daniel Destin Cretton said, I always thought that this post-credit scene from Shang-Chi insinuated that the McLuhans were coming, but with him now directing the Kang Dynasty Avengers movie, it almost has to mean that these beacon points are connected, and if I had to guess, yes, the ping was to Kang. Obviously in this movie the ping is connected to Kang, but I also think the Shang-Chi post-credit was to Kang as well, so two different scenarios but still connected. Now where Quantumania becomes really interesting is where it lands on the timeline. Obviously it's still going to be a mystery, but because the quantum realm doesn't abide to the true laws of time, the timeline of this movie doesn't really have to matter, which is the coolest part of it all. Now hang on to this thought for a minute, we'll circle back. How this ties into the Quantumania plot is because Kang is trapped in the quantum realm looking for a way out. So now according to some rumors, in order to do that, he needs a device or certain power that Ant-Man has to steal, as this will power the time machine. This shot here actually looks like the same energy ping as shown in the Shang-Chi post-credit. Now if I were to guess, this is more of a reason that it is connected than not, and this shot from the first trailer looks like the yellowish energy in this sphere, which is maybe what Scott needs to capture for Kang in this otherworldly part of the quantum realm. Now in the comics, the city Kang creates is called Chronopolis, which includes a lot of his trophies from conquering different timelines and such. However, in the MCU, it's apparently referred to as Axia. And yes, this city is the same one that we see in the brief shot when they're leaving the quantum realm in the second Ant-Man movie. So the time machine, or what's referred to as Kang's time chair, is essentially a time-traveling ship that contains a large energy device which powers it all. The interesting thing is this power is a more developed version of the force field or blaster tech, which is likely connected to quantum energy. So the only way Kang could be stuck in the quantum realm is if this time chair doesn't work, and maybe partially his powers too are affected by this. As a deal, like Scott says, Kang will free Cassie if Scott delivers him the artifact, because even though this movie is going bigger and badder, the heart of it is of course a tribute to Scott's start in the MCU, a heist. And of course Kang knows all of that because he literally knows everything in all of time and knows everything about Scott. Now by the end of this movie, two major things will happen, no pun intended. Number 1, Kang will be freed, and number 2, Ant-Man will be trapped. It's the ultimate sacrifice play because although a lot of people think that he won't make it out of this movie, he technically will even though he's stuck in the quantum realm. To which degree we don't know, but most likely to Hope and Cassie and others, it will be as if he's trapped for good at the moment. And remember how I talked about how the timeline of this movie doesn't matter? It's because once Kang is free, time means nothing to him. At any point in time, he can alter, delete, or do as he pleases with his time chair, and this is exactly what we saw at the end of Loki Season 1. And so the post-credit for Shang-Chi, if it connects to this movie, has no factor in the actual timeline. Kang being free and unleashing his wrath could take place at any point in time on the timeline. The leak, or rumor I should say, also correlates with the 10 rings and other MacGuffins like the bangle from Ms. Marvel, which is why there's a displacement feature connected to them. The bangle could be a miniature version of some of Kang's potential power. We can take a look at this time platform and the rings here having a similar power pattern or almost like a language written on them. Even this new shot here, which could be the center of the device that acts as a time portal chamber. But at the least, these items are all said to be artifacts of Kang that he lost through the years and now he's trying to get them back. So if I were to guess, all of these glyphs will be some sort of time barrier language that he has to unlock. Or as we get down the line to the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, maybe this language has to be unwritten or broken in order for the Avengers to beat him, using his own power and language to defeat him in time. So the rings could be pinging their location for Kang, and the Loki finale also, concept art showed that within his castle he kept trophies from things that he found or who he killed, with ironically an Iron Man helmet and other things, so it's already been set up to do this exact storytelling. And then of course the big one, eventually the Kang Dynasty, which we haven't heard of really any rumors, but the connections to different characters and items around the MCU will bring everyone together, because time is obviously going to be a factor for everyone, and maybe Scott being trapped sets this off. Now I'm going to do a much bigger video on how I see the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars being adapted to this MCU story, but one thing I can say now is don't expect Doctor Doom to be a huge player like people originally thought, because Kang is in some sort of way connected to the Beyonder, or essentially an amalgamation of Kang and the Beyonder combined. So just like how they tied Kang to He Who Remains, this would be the same thing. So just some food for thought right now. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that video as soon as possible. Just to point out something interesting, we do get a couple looks at MODOK, and he looks about as ridiculous as possible for a live action adaptation. But yes, this is Corey Stoll, the actor who played the Yellow Jacket in the first movie. Now the exact details aren't known, but if I were to guess, the quantum energy disfigured his head while trapped down there, but Kang is the one who saves him and kind of uses him as his own pawn, which is why I think in the movie MODOK is said to be the true villain, until Kang has had enough and takes matters into his own hands. There's also many Ant-Man variants, whether this is just quantum hallucinogens or not. There's also a shot here of a literal army of Ant-Mans, which is pretty cool. And then of course there's here what looks like maybe Kang showing Scott he has different versions of himself and how he can manipulate everything. But that's all for this video. I'll have some more Quantumania theories and breakdowns coming out as we lead up to the movie. Let me know your thoughts on the trailer though, and anything you found that I might have missed. Follow me on Twitter at AnotherMarvelG and drop a like if you enjoyed. Other than that, I just want to say thank you. I'm another Marvel guy, and I'll catch y'all on the blip.